Jesus was faced with this same set of dynamics of lots of people in his world who had a different opinion about how the kingdom of heaven was supposed to be instituted, how it was to come. And he had to deal with that. One example would be in John 6, when he's just fed the 5,000 in Galilee. And it says, he perceived that they were intending to take him by force and make him king. But he withdrew again to the mountain to be alone by himself. Jesus would not participate in that kind of kingdom institution program. His was a different one, and that was the one that we just saw in rabbinic literature, possibly the minority position, one that wasn't all that popular in Jesus' day, that required repentance, that required obedience, that required submission to the will of God rather than self-assertion by the force of arms. Jesus told at the end of his life, when he was before Pontius Pilate, and Pilate was questioning him about his identity and are you supposed to be a king, and are you supposed to be really the king of Israel? And Jesus told Pilate, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom was of this world, then my servants would be fighting. The obvious reality is that his servants weren't fighting. When that vain attempt, that small, short-lived attempt in the garden, Jesus stopped that immediately. He said, put your swords away. Those who live by the sword will perish by the sword. So Jesus is saying, I have a kingdom program that is largely discordant with that's different than what many people, maybe most people in our society are championing, are in favor of. And it's the way of yieldedness and obedience and submission to the will of God rather than self-assertion and violence. This takes us back to his teaching in what we call the Lord's Prayer, the Disciples' Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. May your name be consecrated, sanctified, brought to a greater degree of respect by the way that we live our lives in obedience to you. That just is a perfect gateway to the next petition. In my view, the second petition in verse 10. May your name be consecrated and more highly respected by the way we live. May your kingdom come. In what way? How is the kingdom supposed to come? Well, we have been reading stuff from 1st Enoch, material from the rabbis, things that Josephus, realities in Josephus' day in the 1st century that he's describing. And many people would say, may your kingdom come by the force of arms. May your kingdom come by self-assertion. May your kingdom come by us physically overcoming our enemies and bringing in a physical, earthly, tangible kingdom ruled by the King Messiah. May your kingdom come. Jesus is going with a different perspective, a whole different kingdom program. The way we live our lives, the way we obey, the way that we submit, the way we yield to God. Thy kingdom come in what way? By your will being done here on earth like it's done in heaven. And the obvious comparison is, may we be like the heavenly angels who do your will immediately, completely and perfectly. May we do your will here on earth. That's the way, by His will being done, by us submitting to the will of God. That is the way the kingdom comes. Ladies and gentlemen, the way that the kingdom comes in greater power, in greater size, is when an individual bows the knee to the kingship, the lordship of the great King in heaven. It's not by us asserting. It's not by us planning. It's not by us stockpiling arms. It's not by us colluding together. It rather is by yielding to and submitting to the rule of the great King. With each knee that is bowed to this great King, the kingdom comes in a greater degree.